Namaskar, my name is Dola Dasgupta. Welcome to the LEAP webinar on reimagining education. And just want to thank you all for registering for this webinar. Uh, I want to at the onset say that these are very new platforms for all of us. We are experimenting and exploring with uh, Zooms, webinars, live streaming, which many of us haven't done before. So kindly forgive if there is if there are any glitches or shortcomings. So I want to first tell you that our host Krunal Desai, he is controlling all the technical aspects, and so that we can sit comfortably and have this webinar. We are waiting a bit for our panelists to join. So till all of them are here, I just like to tell you all a bit about how we uh, started this whole thing. So it just started with an email from Krunal. I have been educating my children without school for many years. I have an 18-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son. And we are all commonly linked on various platforms where we keep exploring, sharing, and rethinking um, how to go about educating children and ourselves whenever there are different challenges facing us. And during one of those emails, we just came up with this idea that, uh, since February, we have all been facing unprecedented challenges in every aspect of life and living. And schooling and education of children have been in question the most, and most of our panelists have been educationists for many, many years in their own capacities in different ways. And as you must have read in the introductions and the profiles that were made available to you. And that's when we felt that it would be nice to just get together and have a conversation, a discussion around education, schooling, without schooling, alternative ways of learning and living, everything that is linked to children, parenting, education, uh, but with the backdrop of COVID. So, specifically because a lot of us who are today going to be on this webinar have been swarmed with questions and inquiry as to if schools uh, do not reopen in the physical form, that is, uh, your children are not uh, able to go to a brick and mortar school for a long time, or even if the schools reopen, how brave are we really to send our children to a place where social distancing might be a problem and chances of infection are high. So all these fears are there, all these doubts are there, all these questions are there. And that's why we felt that we could bring it live to you, and we have a discussion around this uh, to see what are the different possibilities that can be explored. And that's how learners, educators, and parents commune kind of came into being. It is not a registered, formal organization. It's just an informal collective of people who are passionate about exploring uh, different paths, streams, ways, creative, out of the box ways of looking at learning, living, education, school, with school, without school. And now we have the whole challenge of online schooling, remote learning, distant learning. So we are going to try to see how we can cover all these topics today. And without talking too much about the introductions now, and our panelists are all here. So welcome Aditi, Archana, and Chetana. thank you for joining us today. It's really lovely to see you all. And we will start the, we'll get into the uh, webinar in a bit. I will just explain how we are going to do the 2 hours of the webinar today. So the first 1 hour or 45 minutes, depending on how much time we spend, and we want to do justice to that first 1 hour where I have, after discussing with our panelists and Kunal, come upon a few key areas that we would like to first explore. And so we want to do justice to that. Once we have done that, the platform will be open to the people who have registered for the streaming service, and they have the option to send in their questions through a Google document, and we'll try to take up those questions in the second half of the session. So so that's how we're going to do it. Yes. So I want to ask first, each of you, just tell us a bit uh, as to what is it that you all are currently engaged with. We have all read your profiles, we have seen your backgrounds and the work that you've been doing. But it always helps to start from the present moment or in the now as to what is alive in you, what are you exploring right now, what are you experimenting with right now. So that would be my first question. Is just, it's more to just really get into the webinar and feel present to this moment. So let's I would like to hear from you. So whoever feels like going first, please go, and then we just take it on from there. So Chetna, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so what am I doing now? Our school, I mean, I run a school, so that is going on. And it was a huge journey, I think, to move on to online when we were completely hands on, completely had a curriculum that had to do with sensory. Explorations and human beings mainly, because we used to have so many people come into Orinco, and learning from people, places, and phenomena was something that was so high on our curriculum. And to recreate, not only recreate, I think just relook at the whole thing, reimagine it, and doing itself is taking a lot. And it's going on very well, and I'm very happy how it's going. But it takes a lot of training for teachers, for parents, for children, and just getting used to it. More than training, I think just getting used to and accepting this new change in our world. So that's one thing. I'm doing a lot of parenting workshops and homeschooling workshops for people across the world, so that just jumpstart workshops, so that because we have a very good opportunity right now that all parents and children are at home for the first time ever in so many years, right? For homeschoolers it's a different thing, but generally this is the first time they're together, and this is a time to understand each other and to see if something can be worked upon to have a much better, richer experience of our relationships. I'm sure all parents are doing great. And also homeschooling, because right now we have a crisis homeschooling happening, and everybody is like so worried about whether they're doing the right thing and all of that. So it's better to just look into ourselves and why we're doing this and how we can do it better. So that's happening. And yes, talking to a lot of people through many, many webinars, trying to share all the 20 years of experience. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Thanks, Chetna. Yeah. Yeah, Aditi, like to hear from you as well.
Yeah, I think currently engage with say extending this whole concept of open learning to homes. Uh, I'm part of Arohi, and it's a campus in a village near Bangalore, near Hosur in Tamil Nadu. And for us, like what Chetna was talking about, is that everything was hands-on, learning from people, learning what I want to learn, and now suddenly the thing shifted to homes. But I think what has worked for us is that extending this whole thing, or extending the support to parents to be able to continue their journey at home, and connecting, although a lot of people have a lot of apprehension about this whole online connection, but I think children have taken up, even the parents have taken it very well. Yeah, there are some challenges for them, especially say the one who are very socially active. They have, they are yearning for physical connection with people, but I think this whole concept of creating a community has worked. The community which was physically existing in the campus is now connecting through online. So on daily basis, weekly basis, we share a lot what we are doing, how
Yeah.
we are doing.
Yeah.
We connect with each other, and apart from that, part of webinars, part of sharing the learning journeys of our children who have, through families that who are doing different kind of things, without some without degrees, some with degrees, the complete open learning system what they're working. I think that's what
Yeah.
is going
Yeah.
on.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So this is more like just a brief touching upon, the amazing stuff that you all are doing, and we'll be getting deeper into that with the next few questions. So Archana, can like to hear from you as well as to currently what are you engaged in, what's alive in you.
So, two things we are trying to connect with parents. One is the academic learning, and the other concerns which crop up through the day because the children are not at school. Parents are working from home. Sometimes both the parents are working from home. So, we are trying to see how we can support families to walk through each and every day and make the most of it rather than be bogged down by it. The second part that we are doing is the Explore and Discover, the QED program. And this is a 4-month long program which is for families. With the older children, we work one on one with them, but otherwise, we are working with families because we don't want the children to spend that much of time um, online and trying to find a way around technology. We would rather that they're working with some potted plants, or maybe if there is a garden nearby, go there and work with their parents. So we are trying to engage them through a program where we send the resources, we connect with them only to join the dots. So they come back, the learning environment is created by the parents, they come back, they share with each other, and they go back to that environment. So in this way, we are using technology with voice calls or Zoom calls only to connect and share what they have learned. So this is what we are working on right now. And we are also making the best use of technology to bring in a lot of teachers who are not uh, trained teachers, but they are experts in their own field and they have so many experiences to share with the children, with the parents. So this
More
is
like
something which was
resource
not
people. Yeah.
possible, yes.
Yeah.
So facilitators across the world, that's a positive that we have been able to connect them with the families who are seeking this kind of support from them.
Right. So since three of you have mentioned different areas which have been kind of your um, core areas before this lockdown happened. So, for example, Chetna, you have been running an alternative school, which is called Oringo Academy. Aditi, you've been running this whole community learning space called Arohi, and which is pretty much democratic in its ways. And Archana, uh, uh, you did mention about QED, and that is something that you started once the lockdown happened, or was it already an ongoing thing that you had before the
Once
lockdown
the
happened?
lockdown happened,
Yeah,
but
yeah. So
otherwise we run the School of Life, which is a
yeah,
learning space.
yeah. So I like you to, like three of you to tell us a bit first about, like Chetna, tell us a bit about Orinco. Aditi, tell us a bit about Arohi. The essence of these spaces that you all learn. Archana, tell us a bit about School of Life, because I think each of them have a very unique essence, and I like three of you to share that, so that our viewers get a perspective about the volume of work that you have with you, and that which is making you feel uh, somewhat confident to support the viewers who have come today. So that would really set the context for our as we go along the webinar. So Chetna, would you tell us about Orinco, and what's the essence of Orinco, and obviously you are planning to take that to the online forum and then spread it to every parent who is coming to you seeking support, even if they are not uh, associated with Orinco, but you're taking that experience elsewhere. So can you share that a bit? Yeah.
Yeah. So the core essence of Orinco is how can we be led by the child, and be walk alongside the child in his life, right, in his journeys and in his learning. That is what we set out to, and we figured out that all that the child needs is a lot of explorations, a lot of experiences, stimulation, and thereby collecting a lot of skills. So I always visualize that children should move out of our school with a toolkit for life, and not just a packet of certificates the way we came out with. But I also felt that the packet of certificates is also essential, because the world around us is not changing so much. I feel the children will turn back and say, but I wanted to get back into this course or that course, and I wanted to finish my education. Even that could be their path. That is something that we observed, and hence Orinco is a like a balance of both things, where we have free child-led explorations and education, and where we also have a structured academic curriculum, and a largely structured and unstructured skilling program. So right from K-12, this is what happens. And along this way, it is a community. So the first curriculum of Orinco is the community, the ecosystem of Orinco. And that's where the community perspective is very, very important. All the parents, teachers, children, their families, and the outside guests, whoever comes, everyone becomes a part of Orinco and becomes a part of the curriculum. And hence the literacy or the academic curriculum that is there is a very tiny part of Orinco, and the rest is all the experiences. So in these 10 years now, and before that 10 years of my homeschooling experience with my son, what we realized is that children really thrive in an environment where they are free and open to explore, and nothing should be limiting that, even whether it is curriculum or the adults around. And these two aspects is what I'm taking and trying to work more on, where I'm helping families set up their homeschooling initiatives at home or homeschooling co-ops. And now once we went online, I realized that a lot could be done to help families with our online presence, because one of the greatest limitations was that Orinco was in one corner of Bangalore and nowhere else in the world. So now we're moving and taking this entire experience online for children who are homeschooling or unschooling, or alternate schooling, or just mainstreaming, but would like to add on to their experiences. Anyone and everybody should be able to pick and choose what they want and to go ahead with that. So that is the essence of all my work, I think, for 20 years.
Thanks. That really gives us a really good, thing to start with, because now people know, okay, Chetna, Orinco, and what is that learning that she's bringing to all of us. So thanks a lot for that. Yeah. So Aditi, same question to you.
Yeah. So I think we started our journey by asking the question that what is that we want from education? Is the education is to earn money, or whatever the future, or the purpose of education is to live? And when we realize that the purpose of education is to live, and then why not live right from the age of 2 years. I'm believing that before 2 years, not very more children are going to school, and not giving up their life to other people to decide what they want them to learn and how they want them to learn. So why not live right from the beginning? So this opened up a whole new world for us, where in the whole thing which we talk about is that I decide what I want to learn. I decide as a child. I decide from whom I want to learn. Yeah. I also decide how do I learn, because each one of us are unique, and each one of us has a very very different style of learning. So that how part is quite important for the child to connect with himself, that yeah, this is how I learn and this is how I can learn my life, or sorry, how this is how I can lead my life by myself. So these are the some of the, you can say, the core belief of Arohi, and we call it open learning community. It's open for all ages, all interest. For us, the child who has the interest in, say, crochet, or the child who has interest in automobiles, yeah, I think both of them are at par. There is nothing, one interest of one child is above another one, or one learning is above another one. So it's open for all kinds of learning. So the whole essence of the community is learning, and that's where we all come together, different ages, and we live together as a community, because that's where we co-create a lot of learning for ourselves. We co-create our life, we co-create the systems in the community, that how this place will run and how things will happen. uh, uh, so now the essence of that is uh, to live our life right from the beginning, rather than out of the life and then go into the life to
Yeah.
get something. So it's open for children who wants to decide that, or think or believe that, they want to go into the education. They do the studies, but the first question we ask from them is that, how do you want to study? From whom do you want to study, and where are you right now? So you choose your textbook, you choose your board, you choose your teachers, you to choose, and the whole world is for you to teach us whatever you want to learn. And that's how I think we normally live, or learn in our life. So uh, uh, so the children who don't want to go in, or the families who don't believe in, say, the degree system, I think that the system is open for them to guide or lead, that how do you want to go ahead with your degree-less system. So the entire spectrum is open, the way you want to lead your life. And what matters for us is, so people ask us, what's the philosophy which you follow, and then we say we follow the child. We have a lot of knowledge about the various masters, a lot of philosophies of the education, but that comes handy only to understand the child, but not to put the child into that system and then say, now because this system we believe in, that you follow that system. Rather than we follow the child, and then we create a system around that for the child. I think if that that gives the whole essence of, because we strongly believe that each child is capable of learning, and learning anything they want to learn. All they need is the support system, ecosystem, environment, and the acceptance of what they are, the way they are. That's what I think. Archana is logged out.
I
I
don't
can't
know
see her.
if
Yeah, I
she's
can't.
logged out or she has lost connection.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
she'll join back. So,
yeah.
yeah. So, I both of you have, I think, what I heard were two or three things are pretty much common between what Chetna shared and what Aditi shared, is that every child is unique, and we want to listen to the child and observe the child and be led by the child. and as educators, adults around them, to create that support system. And the other thing is that which came across pretty clearly was that life doesn't begin after school. Life can begin even before that. So it's like this whole separation between life begins after a number of years of schooling, and till then it's like life hasn't begun. So it's always the question, what after school? But here both of you are saying whatever needs to begin can begin as early as possible. So that's beautiful. Yeah. And the third thing was, I think both of you mentioned the word community, because for Chetna, it has been uh, the school is not run just by Chetna and her teachers, but with active and equal partnership and cooperation from the families and the parents. And that has become even more important right now with the physical school not being there. So that's become even more important now. And Aditi, same thing I hear from you is the creating of an ecosystem, a community of learners, educators, parents, and other resource people. So that's that these are the very key things that I got from both your sharing. Archana, because we had lost you for a while, I
Yes,
continued the
I'm sorry.
conversation a bit more.
Right.
So on the same lines, I'd like to hear from you about your school, and then how you've been extending that during this time, during the lockdown time. Yeah.
So School of Life was initiated with my colleague Farida, and this was again with a group of parents because they wanted us to create a learning space. There were two reasons. One is for the little ones who come in around 2.5, 3 years old, and they explore in the Montessori environment. And then right up to grade 12, where the children explore the curriculum from Cambridge or IB, and they prepare themselves. So we are, like Chetna said, yes, definitely the world has not changed around, and children as well as parents are at times under the fear that we may need the certification. But there is a way of looking at this particular need for certification, and it's a good part to develop your academic stamina and understand what is it that takes to go through an assessment. And we try and help the children over there. One important aspect of School of Life is we always look at adults, teachers, and parents to work on themselves rather than fix the child, because the entire focus comes to, oh, this is what my child is not doing, and so on. So we try and bring the question back to the adults and say, what is it that I'm not doing right? And the growth begins from there, not from the child. Uh, for example, something like screen time. And we always want to see whose screen time are we talking about.
Yeah.
We are talking about, I think, the teachers and the parents and their screen time. And
Yes.
automatically the child would absorb
Yeah.
what is it that needs to be done with technology. And right now, as I said, we are trying to work around creating a community which will work together for a long-term program, and that should give us enough time to get to know each other and form smaller groups and then share our experiences. I think that's how we are all going to learn.
Right. So Archana, is yours. So the School of Life and QED that you mentioned. It's. Can you tell us a bit about that, just briefly? What is QED exactly?
So it's a program which we have created like a distance learning program. One component of that, of course, is going to be online engagement, but it's a collection of resources and equipping the parents and the families, sometimes even the grandparents, to create that learning environment. So this is a 4-month program. We initiated it this month, and it will continue till November. And
And
then, of course, we have many projects.
okay.
So
So are you offering this to your existing School of Life community,
It is
or
open
are you
for
extending it? It is open.
it is extended to
That's
many
that's
others. Yes.
very nice, very nice. So it's wonderful to hear that all three of you are offering all your expertise, not just to the community that was already using your physical space, but you're offering it to others as well who are looking for better alternatives while their children might not be able to go to a brick and mortar school. And perhaps those schools are not yet ready to offer this kind of holistic, comprehensive, you know, experience. And I think for all three of you, it in some ways is coming naturally, is what I feel, because you have been running these spaces from that intention and vision. So thank you so much for sharing all this, because I'm sure people will be really interested in getting in touch with people like you. And uh, I'm sure that Kunal will be has the all your email IDs. This I'm talking to the viewers, and he will send out necessary contact details of our panelists in case people want to reach out to you. So. So now that we have heard from all three of you about the different ways, in some ways it's very if there is a common thread running, and yet you have different approaches because we are all unique. So we are offering unique experiences, but I found a very common vision, and therefore this question to all of you is: since you all are in your own different capacities, engaging with families, parents, educators, and children with respect to experiments in schooling and learning, could you tell us what are the real, the messy challenges that most are facing, or that you are coming across while engaging with these different groups? One general challenge is our school is out, so what are we going to do, but beyond this, since you're engaging closely with the community, with the parents now, with grandparents, with the family, uh, what what would you describe are the real challenges that is that you have come across?
So
So Aditi, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I can go
Yeah.
first. I think we didn't realize, but I think it has happened slowly, and it has come into our system that somehow we have a kind of outsource the entire education of our child, and in the process, uh, possibly parents have lost that touch or understanding of what an education can be. And in this time when schools are physically not available, I think parents are facing a lot of issues, how to educate our children. And we are talking about the parents who themselves are educated in that sense, have the
Yes,
degrees
yes,
and
they
have the
have the
necessary,
degrees and the qualifications.
yeah,
Yeah,
the necessary
yeah,
skills that I can teach my child science, maths, geography, and kind of a thing. So I think it's not the crisis of knowledge right now, it's the crisis of understanding. And I think a whole lot of time of our community, or when I say our community, my time goes into supporting the parents, because we believe that this is the time parents need more support.
mm,
uh, Parents need to, and it's not that they don't have the skills of facilitating their child or educating their child. I think parents need support to go back to connecting with their own skills, that what is that it to be a parent, what is that it to be a guide in our children's life. So and that's where I think most of the parents are facing
are struggling. Yeah.
struggling, that apart from these called food and habits and hygiene
Yeah.
issues, which I think parents had taken care that okay, we will take care of that and the education will be taken care by the schools. Now the whole thing is with parents. A child is there 24 hours in front of the child, and there's a lot of other issues which possibly, I think so, my a lot of time goes into connecting with parents, guiding them, and then and doing different programs for them where they can, whether it's about emotion or whether it's about learning the child, whether it's about understanding the how, like for example, recently, now the need has come up that children are at home, and now the so-called necessary educational kits are not available for the parents, and the parents are feeling that how do I now educate my child? So this program is coming up in the next 15 days, is that we are working on it, is that how at home child can learn from whatever is available from. Okay. So in this, again, the child doesn't need any help. Child is anyway learning. You give water to the child will learn. You give books to the child will learn. You give computers, the child will learn. But I think it's the parents who need a lot of support, and that's where I think a huge work is required to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Chetna, would you like to add to that? Share what you have been coming across?
Yeah, so what I'm going to be speaking is from my work, not only in my school, but also, teachers and families in
Yeah. Yeah.
other mainstream schools.
Yes.
So one of the biggest things that I see is in school managements itself, like the whole moving over, the transition into this new world was earlier supposed to be temporary. We thought it is just till June, July. Now seems like it's going to go for the whole year, but with the new NEP and all that, it looks like transition is now definitely a non-negotiable thing. So there I think the whole understanding of what is education, what is life, what is literacy, what is academics, what is curriculum, what is pedagogy, I think is has to be re-looked into. And the challenges there have been that people have continued to do a particular thing for such a long time that they're finding it very difficult to even think differently. And it's this time it is not only thinking differently, but a lot of tech has come into the picture. I'm working with a lot of ed tech companies also, and you won't believe it, I think they're churning out products every hour. And
Yeah.
understanding this whole tech aspect and the integration of it, and understanding how fast the world is moving outside our four-walled classrooms with textbooks. This is redundant. This was redundant 10 years ago when I started Orinco itself, and that's why I removed this whole concept. And I'm sure, when Arohi also, that was the same thing that I have
Yes.
seen. So when that has happened, now we are already 10 years behind, and we have to move into a system that is like 10 years ahead. So that is their issues that they're facing with. The second thing is the teachers all over our country are suddenly realizing it's not the syllabus, it's not that textbook, and it's more about how innovatively, creatively you can bring across concepts to children, wherein you can capture their attention in a world that has already captured their attention with a lot of things that are not this boring, I would just call it that word, right? And children in today's world know much more. They watch a documentary on Nat Geo, they know more than the teacher sometimes in
Yes.
that particular topic, right? And children are so driven to knowing and learning. I have never seen a child not interested in learning. So they're so driven that if they want to learn something, they're just going to go completely into that, right? And they can spend hours, months together sometimes. So that is the teacher's problem nowadays, that I don't know how to engage my children in the
Yeah.
class, right? Even though if it is online, everyone is in their homes,
Yeah.
and you have like the complete attention of a child for the first time. Actually, you don't have
Yes.
distraction, but we don't know what to do with them, because I just have this table and this laptop in front of me, and I have all the tech. I can run a video now, and I can put in an audio now, I can do some experiment here, still I'm not able to capture the attention. Then what is that? What is the whole definition of education is really driving teachers up the wall, I should say.
Yeah.
So that is the teachers. And then you have the parents. For the parents, suddenly a part-time parenting has become a full-time parenting. right? And the part-time parenting also had so many things outsourced, like what Aditi had said, that it was just a transactional thing. How are you? What happened in school? Did you do your homework? Did you eat? Did you do something? And then certain things which were like, little peppering here and there of some trips, or some people coming home, some get-togethers, or things like that. Nothing much was
some amount of disciplining, maybe.
Maybe. And so now suddenly, when you're face to face, all the vulnerabilities are coming out. The parents are realizing who they are, what are their shortcomings, and they're absolutely unable to engage the child is what is troubling them. And they are trying to find, but now suddenly the school has come home, and they're watching the children's interactions with the teacher, or the teachers, the school's curriculum, and they're seeing that it's not really what they're thinking it should have been. That is a big setback that parents are seeing nowadays, because I am having so many calls with parents saying the language is not okay, what they're teaching is not okay, the method is not okay, I never knew this is happening in school, now what should I do? Right? So on one side, that's not working, but you don't know what to do yourself, right? And you have jobs which we are having the adult in today's COVID times is struggling with a whole lot of issues. We don't know about our jobs, we ourselves are not skilled. Maybe we will lose what we have to skill ourselves. I don't even know which direction I have to skill. So many things, right? So the parents issue is this. And when I'm doing my parenting sessions, I'm seeing simple things like a parenting style, or handling emotions, or understanding children's temperaments is causing an amazing difference in their way of thinking and how they're dealing with children. Earlier I used to feel these are simple things, you'll know this because if you're aware and you'll figure out. But I'm realizing that parents need a lot of training. I think in the last 50-60 years we have only taught literacy to the people in our world. We haven't taught relationships, we haven't taught experience with people, we haven't taught how a human being actually grows, what happens, what are emotions, what are feelings. None of this training has happened, and that is very evident now. We have knowledge, like what Aditi said, knowledge is there, education is there, degrees are there, but we really don't know what to do with life. And that's where we are struggling. The best of the whole lot is children. They're least bothered. They have taken on to this online, offline, whatever you give us, that's okay. They're least bothered that the whole country, whole world is in lockdown. Maybe they're curious what's happening, but they're fine. You go out, that's okay, I'll figure out something. But I think a bigger issue that I'm facing in every webinar that I do, the calls are about gadget and the addictions. So that is something that I can foresee as a major issue, because we are not helping children, embrace technology in a constructive way. They have to
in a healthy way.
Technology is there for you to help you. So there are a lot of aspects of technology. It can be for leisure, it can be for learning, it can be for many other things. But that education itself is missing. For everybody for that matter, right? So I think these are some of the challenges that everybody is facing nowadays.
Thanks. Wonderful. Yeah, you really outlined them really well. Yeah, Archana, can you please? Archana, you have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. The major issue is the lack of outdoor interaction with each other. I think that is something I really worry about, that children are not getting that. And a space to relate to each other as well, because they see each other on the screen, they see their teacher on the screen, but they are not able to engage. And that has always been the core of our programs, that they learn from each other and they correct each other. There is one child who will be leading, there's another child who will help the other child who is facing some difficulties. So this transaction is now on a pause. And we've always worked with mixed age groups, vertical groups. So how is this going to play out in their future life in the next 1 year, because they have not been doing this, is a worry. The joy and harmony that they experience when they are in the company of each other, that is something which is also missing. They're happy to be at home, they're happy to be with their parents. Parents may not have enough time because they are working from home. They have housework also to take care of. But at the same time, just being around their parents and having them all for themselves is something which gives them joy.
there is a bit of a worry about the level of patience that family members can keep in the house, given the current stresses. As Chetna mentioned, that are they equipped to be as patient as teachers are oriented to? And that becomes a very big challenge nowadays. And how many questions do children ask? We know that. And when those are posed to the parents and the grandparents, when they have their own worries for the day, then this is something that how do they keep the structure, the discipline, and the harmony in their home environment so that children thrive in it. I think these are some challenges which we don't have immediate solutions for, but maybe they will emerge because children are resilient and they will find their way out and they will move forward.
Beautiful, wonderful. So, from all three of you, what I really hear is that probably a entire paradigm shift is needed in the way adults who are going to be spending so much time with their children. Uh, that is the need of the hour, and we are all grappling with that. So that leads me to the next question, which is I know I want to tell my viewers, like tell our viewers that we are not. None of us have conclusive answers right now. We are all in the exploratory mode. We are trying out. We are responding to the challenges as they are coming to us. And all these three wonderful people, they are also responding to challenges in the best way they know, and they are working as a team with the families uh, and the children, and taking help of other resource people. So everything that we talk here are not conclusive in nature, but they are exploratory in nature. So therefore, my next question is, according to you, what are the desired behavioral and lifestyle changes that families could incorporate in order to navigate through these new challenges? See, one is an enforced lifestyle change which has happened, which is work from home, no physical contact, no socializing, and things like that. This is something that has been forced upon us. It is almost beyond our control. But given these restrictions or constrictions, I would say, what would be the desired behavioral and lifestyle changes that could be incorporated according to the experiences that you all have had? Some simple things that we really need to work on as parents, as family members. I would like to hear from each of you about that. So I think we can go back from Archana. So let's start with you, Archana, since you are in the flow right now. So yeah.
Very simple things like a routine that children woke up in the morning, had some breakfast and milk, and boarded the school bus and reached there. And then they had a routine which the school decided for them and they came back home. So something like that needs to be replicated by families. I feel that's really going to help the child have a sense of stability in their lives. They know what they need. They can look forward to what is possible, what is not possible. It's a very simple thing, but very difficult to follow. I myself struggle with it. So we need to find a way that we can have that sense of stability and pattern and a set schedule for them, not a daily shift from, okay, let's do this today and something else the other day. The other bit is going to be to get the children and all the family members on board to realize what is it that I can change and what is it that I cannot change. What is in my control and what is right now not in my control. So these are the choices on the table. I think once we have that outer structure very clear in their mind as well as our mind, I think as a family we can function better. And when we talk about let the child lead us, I think that does not always work with teenagers. So we may want to keep an eye on where they are being distracted, what is distracting them online, and is there some way that I can find balance between they getting into a physical activity as well as being attending the online classes. So it would always help that the child is not locked up in a room attending online classes from 9 to 4, which is what usually happens, and then an extra class or a coaching class. It would be good if the child has their door open and you have access to it, not in terms of intruding them or not in terms of showing some mistrust, but being with them with that journey and not leaving them on their own. I don't think they're ready right now to be left on their own. So keep an eye and handhold them. Trust them with things which they know about, which they may not know about. You may want to know what's happening in their world. So these are some very small things, but I feel they impact the family quite a bit.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, we'll go to Chetna now. So we go in that order. So Chetna, what would you what would your suggestions be? Or
So I really liked what Archana said. I think that is very, very important. First of all, for a family to now understand, accept, and acknowledge the situation where we are. For all of us in the family, this is the new way. We don't have an option, and figure out where we have a choice and where we don't have a choice. But I think more importantly is for the family to start behaving and understanding that you are a unit. Earlier, everything used to be so much outsourced to everybody that we all had our separate lives. I think we just came back in the evening to just spend the night together and then go back to our lives. Even that evening and night sometimes were dotted with a lot of external commitments. So now it's important to understand that the family is one unit and everybody is part of that family. And everybody has to work towards being a good citizen of the family first. And that's why it's important to enlist everyone at home to contribute to not only decision making but the work itself, and have feedback mechanisms, communication mechanisms, included in this whole unit, because right now it is like a team. So all the things that we use when we are in a team has to be brought in. Secondly, I think it's important for everyone's schedules to be in an accessible place. Just like how we have calendars in corporates, I think it's important for homes to have calendars now, where you know when the mother is busy with her work calls or meetings or household work, and when the father is, and when the children have online classes. All of these, if they're put on, it's very easy for a child to know when do I have access to my parents, so that they don't get sidelined by the parent, or parents all definitely they will get irritated if the child is barging into their calls or things like that. So it's important for that schedules to be communicated to everybody. And it's important for us to put out our issues, like I am unable to deal with this, or I need help with this. And these kind of communication should happen, wherein people can understand the lives of each other. That is the second aspect. I think the third is for us to understand how can we spend time with each other as a family to utilize this possibility that we've had now, this opportunity that we could know each other well. So maybe playing with each other or spending time cooking, whatever works for you. But that time is required. Even in this time of opportunity, if we are going to be so busy that we don't know each other, then it's a missed opportunity, right? So that is very important. Fourth is, if you are already working with the school and you have online classes or whatever, trust the school. Whatever it is, you had chosen this school out of a lot of research that you had done, whether it is mainstream, alternative, or whatever it is, or any group that you've chosen. Trust that. I saw a lot of mistrust in the beginning days, May, June, July. There was so much mistrust. That is not going to work, right? And we have to give and then only get. That's how it is in giving that we receive. So that is why it's important to work with that organization, give your feedback, see what you can help with. And for example, teachers, it would be so nice if the techie parents would go and help out these people to get trained or to find something different to do. The mothers at home, if you have time to research, find out some new ways to engage children and send that to the teachers. It will be so excellent, because they are also struggling. Online class is not like a walk-in class. It's very difficult. It takes much more time to prepare for an online class. So these are things that we need to understand. This is the best time to test humanity, to apply humanity as well. So we have to really
Yeah.
see what we can do as human beings for each other. And that comes first by acknowledging, becoming aware, and just understanding that this is here to stay.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Aditi, what
Yeah.
would you have to say about
Yeah,
this?
yeah. I think as Chetna was saying, you are a unit now, so I'll start from there. That one of the things which we need to bring to our homes is the respect. Respect to the child as an individual. Yeah. Uh, Maybe not every family, but somewhere we have taken up the role as higher up in the
Hierarchy. Yeah.
ecosystem. Yeah, ecosystem, and the child is just a receiver.
Hmm.
Maybe it worked when the child was or when things were not together as a unit, but now by design or by force, you can say, or by constraint, now the things are has come to our homes. Yeah. So so everybody is at home, more or less, and now it even become even more important to respect the child. How much like you will respect when you are in workspace each other, you give space to each other, that understand that although all four or five or six people in the family are connected through blood, but they're still different individuals with different, I will say, the attitude, different experiences, different style, different preferences. I think that needs to be given the respect. And when there is a we love our children, but not sure that we respect them as much as we respect maybe our boss. Maybe we don't love our boss, but we respect the boss. That
Yeah.
yeah, there is a merit in what you're saying, or kind of a thing. So if we can bring that trust for our child through the respect for the child, I think we can create a harmony in our homes, where each one of us are equal, each one of us have a say in what's happening, each one of us an opinion, where each one of us are heard. Yeah. That's quite important at this moment, because it's not only the child. I think the whole family is going through a lot of different transition. So we as a parent don't need to paint a face that I'm strong, and then I'm able to receive whatever is happening, whether a job or whether with your education and all. I think I need to now come forward as a parent, uh, uh, and have trust in my child, that my child will be able to receive me the way I am. So I think that family atmosphere needs to come in the families, which which in some way children are able to receive with with their peers in the classrooms. Every child has some peer who would accept them. Every child will have somebody who can connect with them. So now that connection has to come back to the homes, and it has to be done within the home. Another thing which I believe strongly is that uh, this whole anxiety over that, if this year the way things are going is is if the child is not going to school, it's going to be wasted, or child is going to lag behind something. uh, my whatever appeal to the parents is that give it space to this year. Give
Yeah.
this year to your child, and then see that does the child have the power to collect himself, which child has. But I think you can experience now this year that the children will not lag behind, just because they are not educating themselves the way we are used to of understanding that the education is all about. So this is also the time for us to uh, uh, for a moment leave that anxiety behind, and start thinking that what what worse can happen, because this anxiety, it's like it's good to be good to have concern, but is it good to be concerned? Yeah.
Mm.
So when I am not at peace as an adult or as a family member, how will I bring peace to other people in my family? So unknowingly we are passing those anxieties to children, which at all, if it is there, I think can be taken care after a year. Anyway, there is not much we can do beyond. Okay, not much we can do. We can do a lot more than whatever the conditions we are here right now. Is that uh, if we can give that space to the child, that uh, take it that this year as a, like, apart from the academics, the child itself is a lot more things. Child has lots of dreams, child has lots of ideas, child has lots of thoughts, child has lots of opinions. Can I bring that into my family? Can I bring that into my
Mm.
unit, and help child to connect with the world around? Although we are all locked up in a 4 rooms, but then I think the whole world has opened up in other sense. Yeah, all 4 of us, right from the all 4 different corners of the world, are connecting and coming together, and then interacting on certain things. Can we offer that to our children? Can we take off this whole system of only teaching is the way of education, to collaborating? Can our children collaborate with different children? Can I be that catalyst for my child, where the child can connect with different people? In fact, at Aruhi, this collaboration with different resource people, with different children, we have been doing for last 5 years. The Zoom calls are not new for us. Our resource people come on Zoom call and interact with our children for their interests, which children are wanting to learn from. And I think now this whole world has opened up. So look at it this way, that now each resource person is accessible to us, yeah, to our children. And can we give that richness? Can we use the richness which the world has around us? Yeah. And for that, I think we might have to just bring little changes in the way we are thinking about this whole education. That education is beyond academics. I'm not against academics, but I'm saying that is that taking away the whole life? Is the whole life revolving around those subjects? And now we have the enough time, at least the time for which we were putting in traveling from one place to another place. We have at least that much of time. And then can the child use that? In fact, even I can, I mean, as an adult, can use. So I think if we can bring those changes by little change in our thinking, that yeah, it's an opportunity. It's not. So that's, I think.
Yeah. So beautiful, because I'm listening to all three of you. There are few aspects that is also coming to my mind. See, one is have already had a student base, a base of students and families which have been using your space, your services, and so you have moved that to online. Besides that, there are these other schools, like the very mainstream schools, are which are graded in nature, which where a curriculum is fixed and it's handed over to every grade, and the child is expected to go from one grade to the other. So I think the challenges are so much more for those children, because and those families, because they are really not used to a sudden a change of such drastic measures, because uh, a lot of time was spent in the physical space of the school. And what I hear is that it is not, in fact, a great learning experience to spend that many hours in a physical space. doing the same online is not the same experience. And I think Archana has already mentioned that in a different way. Because when you are going to a space, you're not just sitting with your textbook and your notebook, and you're not just listening to a lecture or a lesson being taught. You are also having that interpersonal interaction with your peers and with the whole community that gets built around a space, a school, or something. That is something that is right now missing, and I think that has also created a lot of empty space. Like how Aditi said, that it has opened up a lot of free hours, so to say, and I think that disturbs parents a lot, because the free hours are a problem, and how do we fill that in this uh, environment? And what I hear Aditi say is that take a pause, use this as an opportunity to see what else opens up. So, and I think the whole idea of mutual respect, I think that's something that all three of you have touched upon since the beginning of the session, that learning to be vulnerable with our children, being open to the vulnerabilities of our children, to work on dialogue, on communication, on sharing. I think that helps to understand our emotional quotient so much more, which was probably missing for a long time. It's not that all families are like that, but generally that is what is missing. And to work on that, to take this time to really work on that. So this is something also that has come up. And Archana mentioned a very important point, that is the children are missing the outdoor physical contact. And of course, things are opening up quite a bit now, but the distance from the physical distance from other human beings is still being feared, and there is a constraint on that, and hence and we all thrive on that, actually, because that's how we human beings are. Some might thrive with just 3, or some might thrive with 4, some with hundreds, but uh, that's whatever degrees it is, it's important. So how so that brings me to my next question, and Aditi has kind of touched upon it, is that how uh, how important is the creation and existence of a learning community in facing today's challenges, uh, uh, which perhaps is earlier it was the school which took care of it, and then the coaching classes, and then you go out, you take a public bus, you go by your vehicle, or you walk, or you cycle. All that is gone in some ways, or minimized. So how important is the creation of a learning community which is not restricted to just your school and your teachers? Because your school and your teachers are also going to be tired after doing all this online thing all the time with so many kids. They're not going to be available for you all the time. And so that is one question. And related to that is, if children are going to be spending more time at home, then do you feel a different learning community or ecology is becoming more pertinent? Or are we just talking about replicating the same, we are just repackaging it and providing it? Or do you feel that a totally different learning community is now needed? So this is my question to the three of you. I'd like you to share your views on that, because I feel it's important. So I'd like to hear from you. So we'll we'll go to Archana. Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that we have been exploring is, can we look at some of the community halls, the so-called clubhouses or the party halls in the upper middle class families, and then in the small villages, towns, suburbs, can we look at the community halls which are given to neighborhoods? And can these be explored to create small learning spaces
where some parents volunteer, we have some support staff, and can they take up the role of providing the learning space for the children, so that at least those small neighborhoods come together and they function as a go-to place for them to learn. And maybe those transactions of relationships and matters of the heart can be taken care of, not just academics. So I think that is something which may be a possibility. So we are simply again replacing the so-called assigned roles in schools with something which is now closer to home and possible. And maybe maintaining the distance, maintaining hygiene, and keeping close supervision would be possible. With children who do not have access to technology, that's extremely worrisome. And plus, here definitely both the parents need to go out there and work. It's not a matter of choice. So, is there some way we can use radio? Can we use some of our FM stations which are there for entertainment to be able to broadcast and connect to the children? Storytelling sessions, or a person who is good with science or mathematics could come and share some ideas, share some fun tricks. That would be something they could explore. And in this way, I think then we are forming a community where we are asking the adults to express themselves in a very different way. So they have their jobs, plus they are not outsourcing their education of the child, but they are participating in it by playing another role. And maybe so many other skills may emerge, personalities may come forth. So these are some ideas which we are trying to work around.
Yes. Yeah. So what you're suggesting is that the parents themselves start interacting more with the other parents, and
Yes.
kind of, because I do see that especially in big schools and bigger cities, there's very little socializing that happens between the parents, except for they meet up at parents
Mhm.
teachers meet, or when there is a function in the school or something. But outside that, maybe if you're in the same building or your neighbors physically, there might be some interaction, but a more open, intimate interaction rarely happens, is what I have seen, uh, between, say, the parents of your children's peer groups. So I think that is one beautiful ecology that really needs to be explored now. People really need to think about that. So yeah, and that's a very, very beautiful and true, like, should be explored by parents, that get to know the parents of your child's peers, and see what can be explored together with them. It's wonderful. Yeah, Chetna, so I'd like to hear from you as well on these
So,
areas.
see, Dola, the thing is, while we are speaking all these things about that, first of all, there is this child who has so much within himself or herself to drive, right, his own learning. So one is we have to start trusting the child, and that the child can figure out themselves certain things in their purview, right? And like Archana earlier said, not all age groups this applies. You can't tell a teenager, I trust you, and you just do whatever you want. Perhaps when I'm saying you can't tell, I'm saying in general public things. We have homeschooled, unschooled. We've seen all those ups and downs and journeys as well, of allowing a child to decide their own journey. And they do, they also show a lot of possibilities of handling their own learning. And I've always seen that when I ask a child to design their learning and their experiences and whom they would like to learn from, a lot emerges. A whole curriculum emerges over there, yeah, if I may say that. So one is the child. Second is definitely the family unit. If the child is very small, then certain things that we were speaking about may not be applicable in that sense. So maybe the different family members may take one aspect of the child's learning, and the child is still collaborating with other people. I've also worked with people in apartments, forming small groups, and seeing how they can, each of them can bring in their skill sets to the children and work with. And definitely, schools like, all of our schools, for example, we could collaborate and see if children can teach each other, older children to younger children, or they could have discussions on the same topic that they're all looking into. All these things can be possible. But what I'm really seeing is, though these are all nice things to say, not all parents know how to do these things. I may want to do, but I don't know how to do. I may not be a good teacher. I don't know how to construct curriculum. I don't understand what a lesson plan is, because we think that these are the things that drive learning, right? I'm not saying these are required, but this is what our understanding is. And somewhere it gives structure to what we are trying to teach. So even if you want to teach at home, parents are like, so much information is on Google. Where do I go? I don't understand. So somewhere there is this ideal world that we would like to have, that all of us should come together and do things, whether in a community or at home. But there is this other world of people really needing help to be able to do that. And sometimes there is this need to outsource it also, because I might really be so, see, people have been working in really big positions. See, maybe they're your VPs or something like that. You are 24 hours on call. Where are you going to find the time to do all these things? Because you are not even prepared for this. When we started homeschooling and we continued homeschooling, we were completely prepared for it mentally. That we have to maybe give away our time and our careers or whatever it is. Everybody is not in that state, and everyone is not this motherly and fatherly kind also. Marriage and children and all just happened because like a progression, right? So in that scenario, it is very important to bring in the aspect of these edtech companies or these schools that have online classes, or a combination of those things. And maybe sign up to places like Arohi, because they're really working so hard in helping parents learn how to engage their children. So these are also very essential, and if parents can sign up to certain things and spend time, good. Otherwise, I have even been telling parents to have educated women as nannies, governesses, who can maybe learn and bring in this kind of atmosphere at home, because we don't have an option. We have to do it as one thing, we want to do it as then the next thing, and then how to do it. And that has worked, because there were so many people that were laid off from their schools, that we have a lot of women who are working as assistant teachers or even helpers in a class, in a preschool class. They know so much more now, because they've been doing all the art activities, cutting, pasting, everything. So they know so much. And so when I have been able to place people like that in homes where the parents absolutely didn't have time to engage the child, we're seeing very good results, actually better than what it was. And then we have to guide them, of course. We don't want to have a curriculum at home, but many formats of learning are coming up, right? But like Aditi said, yeah, first of all, maybe just take a pause. You don't have to do so many things. But the truth remains that we don't know where these children are going next after this. If the children are going to be in a system like this, if the children are going to continue like this, then it's different. But what if this year is just a break from a mainstream hardcore academic oriented school? Then I have to get there, which means that I am not going to have the opportunity of taking a pause, because if I do that, then next year my child is not going to catch up with whatever is expected. So there are a lot of variables that we need to think and do, but there are many options as well. So parents have to really see what they want and how they want to do it. And then, of course, there is a lot of help available. So first, it's like ask and you shall receive, right? So we should know what to ask. And once we know what to ask, I think you'll receive a lot of help.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, Aditi, what are your views on this?
Yeah, so I think if we have to really reimagine the education system, I think we need to stop bringing school to home, uh, because that was in a very different setup, and this is a very different setup. So I think your earlier question was that what kind of lifestyle changes we need. I think it begins from there. Uh, and then I have a proposal for all the schools, all the teachers, and is that children really don't need teaching. What they need is the guides. So I have all the respect for the teachers who are trying their hard, trying their best to bring this whole learning through online, acquiring necessary skills which they need. But I'm asking a question: that is it that what you need to do right now? Okay. Is there something else we need to do as teachers, as educators, and
And as parents.
as parents? Yeah, I think, in my opinion, we need to now relook into our roles. Yeah, now with this whole online world, the knowledge is accessible to the child. Yeah, as Chetna was saying, if I watch Nat Geo, I will know more about nature than maybe my teacher have not watched that movie or what that episode, and then my teacher is not aware that
Documentary,
much
yeah.
about that knowledge. Why can't we bring the child's knowledge into the teaching? Yeah. How about I have 30 students in my class, and then say, next topic we are going to work on integers, and then whosoever is the teacher or the master in integers, can you bring your learning to the whole class? Yeah. And then I don't need to engage children, because the children are already engaged. I don't need to do hard uh, uh, to transfer this education to the children, because this education is already available to the children. What we need to transfer is the relationship to the children. What we need to create ecosystem for the children is that how do they connect with each other, which they might have forgotten. You know, when I'm school, when I'm in class, I is as exist as a unit. My class, my grades, my performance, my whatever, my textbook, my scorecard is that. But now it's can we transfer it to we? You know, I know the science. I'm into science as a child. Can I now teach 5 more children the science what I need? And can we create those ecosystems? And I'm not talking about anything in air right now. I'm talking about what exactly is happening in Arohi right now. Yeah, there is a 9-year-old child who leads the electronics club. Yeah, and he's learning because he's very passionate about it. He learns, and then he's teaching. Yesterday in his class, there was a mother who was learning electronics from him. Okay, so can we create that ecosystem? So we don't need to take the schools or the class to the children's home, but we need to bring those learnings, or I will say those masterminds, and we take them to the whole world. That okay, now there is a child who experts in say class 5 maths, and then and this child can have a 10 children who can learn from this child. So if those a lot of interconnections are happening, and I think we will be away from all these problems of online engagements, and even academics pressure, because then there's a different energy. Yeah, and children create these energy when they are in summer. When there is a holiday for them, when there is a get-togethers for them, you will see 3 children sitting in one corner and exchanging notes about something. Okay, so they are designed, and we all are also designed to exchange our energy, exchange our learning, exchange our knowledge, exchange our expertise. So can we bring that now ecosystem for children to experience? So I will say that don't create these online classes for children. Create these the smaller groups learning within themselves, for themselves, with each other, and for others to go ahead about that. Uh, so another thing which I believe, or I say, not even when the COVID came, before that I would say that why can't we have each street is a in each street is a school in itself. Yeah, if you look at a smaller neighborhoods, a smaller portion of say 2 3 streets together, if you see, you will find everything you need. You need maths teacher, you need science teacher, you need somebody who can work with emotion, you will have somebody who knows how to, repair your things. So whether you call it skill, whether you call it academics, you call it relationship, you call it emotions, you call it life skills, I think everything is available within that smaller unit. And can we now bring that aspect in our it says that it takes a village to raise a child, it's an African proverb. Now can we create those learning villages for our children, and where they can learn. So school don't need to discard their systems. They're already a ecosystem within themselves. If in the school there are 500 children, so there are at least say 500 children, and even if every parent is not there, at least 100 adults. So these 600 people can create an ecosystem for them, and in the smaller units, if possible, no age barriers, if possible. If not possible, it's fine, go ahead, create those smaller units within. So for that, I think one of the things which we need to do is that we need to step out. We need to step out from the places where we are sitting right now, that I'm a teacher, I'm a mother, I'm a father, I know more. So if I can let go those seats, or let go those leadership, you see that how children are taking the leadership of their learning, whether it's the life skill, whether it's the emotional skill, whether it's a relationship skills. I think yesterday we were having a session, and there is a child who did something to other child, and this child is saying, I forgive him for what he did. Look at the beauty they already have in themselves. It's just that we need to allow them to create this ecosystem for them. Yeah. I get excited when I think of these possibilities. That
I also I'll just add something to that, and we'll move on to the live questions. I think I've been able to cover most of the important points with you all. I think this is a great. I know that we have constraints, especially those who are still into the school system. I don't think they're coming out of that soon enough. Aditi and I know that very well. So they're going to be in the school system. They're going to feel that their children need to be instructed. They know the goals are fixed, and they are going towards those goals. So all those constraints are not going away soon. I think I would say that school at home is not going away. uh, uh, it will be there for those parents who and those families who just cannot reimagine or rethink a life where we completely rethink and reimagine school education itself. So there will always be a few bunch of people who will come out of it and explore. So I know that Archana, Archana is attending to that. Chetna is attending to both of these. Like she's attending to a group who has come out and is thinking of a different way, and she's also attending to people who want to continue in that system in a different way. And Aditi, you have come, I mean, from the very beginning, you have completely left that whole thing behind, and you've embarked on a completely different journey with your, first with your children, and then opening it up to a lot of people. But for me, I think all these things can come together if we look at what some countries have done is integrated learning. So this whole graded system of learning, in fact, this is a, if not if not after the schools open up, at least to have fun for a year, if the families would just have the courage to experiment and explore just for fun, integrated learning with intergenerational or no constraints on the demography of the peer group. or the learning group. So, for example, like taking up not science, but taking up, say, the study of rocks, or the study of minerals, and then seeing how a peer group, which could be children and parents and teachers, all come together for a group wherever possible, and everyone tries to find out what about the minerals they are interested in. So it could be actually the minerals, the physiology and the chemistry of it, the biology of it, or it could be about the whole how the civilization of this planet has come into being, and the history of it, the geography of it, and the science of it. So, and the maths of it, and the astrophysics and everything. Like, and I know that every child and every parent and every educator would definitely gravitate to a different aspect of the same thing. And I wish, this is my dream, that and I'm sure it's a dream for all of you as well, and somehow you're trying to do all that within those constraints. I wish at least the parents and the viewers who are listening to this session today would just give it a shot. Just give it a shot. And of course, you're going back to mainstream school. That's not going away anywhere. Just give it a shot to have some fun in life. So,
Yeah, I
so
think
we can,
Dola, I just want to add to it that and I think then you see the amount of learning emerges out of these these learnings, and then you still have a little time to catch up with whatever has not been caught up to go to the next standard. But I think what Dola, what I'm listening is that at least can we re-look into the way we are giving the so go ahead.
So it looks like we haven't still got many questions from our viewers. Either they are completely floored by us, or, or they have no clue what we are talking about, or we have been so clear about things that they actually don't have any questions. So, so I just want to take a few more minutes of you now that we are a little bit free and there are not many questions. Uh, so, so I'd like to hear from three of you that yes, you all are already catering to and trying to catering to the existing system and trying to help and this transition period and how to go through it. I would like to hear from you personally as educators, as parents yourselves, that like I shared my dream, like my wish, my really heartfelt wish. And I'm wondering if each of you have something like that, which is really about your wish and you would like to see manifested in this whole world, like in relation to children parenting education. So yeah, Archana, I'd like to hear from you. Then we'll go to Chetan.
I think the fun part was really important, and that is completely missing because we have become so serious about the situation. Yes, the current the tragedy demands that we look at it in a very sensitive manner, and it should be taken seriously. But that need not be a component in the classroom. So what happens in an online class is we are all coming in, we are tense, we are being watched. Parents are tense that, okay, is this the quality that I get, my child gets? So if we can put all that aside, fun will emerge. And that's what children want. I mean, they are going to need that emotional space to be able to explore and bring joy. So I just hope that all of us chill a bit and not take life too seriously and let the child spread that fun in the family as well. I think all of us as adults also need a bit of that.
Yeah.
So in terms of dream, I still worry about how are we going to be able to take it forth to the others, the children where we don't have access with our online sessions. How is that going to be possible?
Yeah. Yeah. So in fact, that was one of the questions that has come from one of the viewers about the non-digitized sections of uh, our our country. And I did hear a very beautiful piece of news from Mexico, where they're using the national television network to take education to and different classroom modules and education modules to homes, because while internet has not accessed every household, television has. So they've been using television, and that was a wonderful uh, idea, I thought. So yeah, Chetna. So what would that be of what would be your dream like? And
I think it would be nice if we believed in the potential of the child, and we trust that every child is already here with whatever he or she needs to survive and thrive in this universe, because I don't think the universe does anything without a plan. So that is very important. Second is for parents to understand the only edge we have over them is a few extra years of time on this planet. I wouldn't even say experience, because not all experience is experience that you have learned from. Unless you've learned from experiences and you've derived some wisdom from it, I don't think it's of use to anybody else. Even then, I don't know sometimes. So it's important to understand that. Third is to understand that it's parenting is a contract that we have for at least 20-21 years, and that contract is not about driving the children. It's about just being there for the safety, protection, for taking care of the children, because they're already on that path, and to enable that journey of theirs, right? So these are things that I wish people felt about the children. The second thing definitely is in terms of learning and education. What is the definition of education and learning? And learning comes naturally to human beings. You don't have to work a lot on that aspect in the first place. And what is education? It is something that is relevant to you in your context, right? So for us, our children, the context may be different, but for someone in a tribal village, the context is going to be totally different. So we have to understand what is relevant to us at the moment is education, and see if those skills can be available to the child to explore. And that is why concepts like the street schooling that Aditi mentioned and all are very important, because they will work on the context of the child, and the relevance will definitely come around there, right? So though that is something nice. And maybe the education system and the teachers and the school principals, all of them also need to understand whom are we catering to. See, we are catering to many families, especially in the cities, who have all the lower levels of the Maslow's triangle already satisfied.
yes.
So these people are not going to be working for those things at all. These children, they're not going to be driven. So this whole fear-laden, anxiety-laden thing that if you don't do this, you won't get across, then you won't get into college, then you won't get a job. I don't even know why I should get a job. I already have the whole, roti kapda makan already in my house in the various formats. I have a farmhouse, I have an apartment, I have something else as well.
Yeah.
So whom are we catering to is something we need to think of, and then thereafter bring in that kind of education. Definitely literacy is on the minds of people who are in the lower strata, because they don't have that aspect also. So they would want a school because they're first generation learners, maybe, who knows. So every strata is different, and if we could acknowledge that and understand and then build systems for each of them, maybe that is a good way. And these self-led learning centers. So in Orinco also children teach so many things. Children teach. We just take a back seat, right? But to allow a child to come to that stage, there needs to be trust. That trust has to be built first of all amongst everybody. So last year, my entire classroom, sixth grade social studies classroom, was 70% taught by children. Now the parents had trust that they're not going to miss any portions. This is the mainstream problem, right? So at least in Orinco, we don't have parents. Even then, they believe that yes, the children can teach and the rest of the children can learn, and this experiment will succeed. That was a trust that we all built amongst ourselves. And there's a sense of honesty that all the stakeholders in raising children should have. That honesty should be about telling what's possible, what's not possible, what are the fears, what are the anxieties, and be available to be counseled and coached in that area. We need not be a know-it-all.
Yeah.
Right? We cannot be. We are not like that. We are evolving human beings. So a world which has all of this might still be more conducive to children and to education, I think. And at least we can think of the next generation being far more balanced, productive than what we are. We are just rushing, right? We don't know. We are actually being moved by other variables, not by ourselves. So a world where children are led by themselves and would be agents of social change, doing something meaningful that has their passion connected to their careers, I think that's my dream.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Aditi, you are next before we wrap up.
So what excites me and what keeps me alive is this dream of learning community. And when I talk about the learning community, I think I'm not talking about the community where only children are learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about where we all are learning, right? Many of us have grown up. I remember a mother, she was around 30, 35-year old, and she was in our campus and she did a little bit of painting on the wall. And the entire day she was jumping with joy that, on a wall, first time in my life, I'm painting and she was carrying that joy for herself. Yeah. So I think if we can imagine that kind of a learning communities in different spaces where the learning is not enforced, learning is not only my job, my as a child's job, it's everyone who is living that learning. Whether means although we all are educated, I have a good degree from a good college, uh, but I think there are so many things which I don't know. There are so many things which I can now I can get into as an adult. And then when children find a community, like it's much like cooking happens in most of our homes, so then we don't need to impose cooking on our children. They pick up, some pick up cutting vegetables, some pick up dishes, some pick up baking, some pick up something else, but then because this is all happening around them. So my dream is a happening space for children where people are learning, where people are enjoying, where people are failing, where people are dreaming together, whether it's about the rock or about the star or about the maths or about business, wherever. But I think I'm living that dream in my community where we live together. But then I wish if there are more spaces like this for children. If so, I'll come back to the if all the neighborhoods can get converted into those learning spaces, then imagine that what kind of interactions and ecosystem we will have for
And that I think that learning together is very important. Children
yeah
have to see that everyone around is on the learning path. And as
yeah
sometimes we don't show them that because of various things. But I think even in Orinco, we have this thing, everybody is learning at all points of time.
yeah
Every teacher is jumping with joy because she did something. I myself, I think I learned so much after Orinco was born.
yeah
So that is very important for children to see that learning is a vocation in itself for everybody around me.
Yeah, right. So thank you so much. And there was just one question which I feel we are still not ready to respond to, which is about the uh, national education policy. We might just need a different session on that. I personally would like to go into it because I think we are still studying the draft. We are still looking at it. We are still trying to understand it ourselves. So I'm just leaving it out and we are just going to wrap up now. So thank you so much, Aditi, Chetna, Archana. First of all, we took a lot of time to slowly come to this webinar. We exchanged ideas, what would work, what would not work. And today, finally, we are here. Thank you, Krunal, so much for initiating this. And I don't know what the way forward for leap is. Are we going to be leaping? And what we're going to do with it. I often find that things have a life on their own and they kind of manifest things. And I hope we manifest more beautiful conversations and exchange of ideas. And so thank you so much for sharing and giving time to us. And for the viewers, if you have been listening to this and giving your time to this, and we hope we can take this forward and bring more ideas and conversations to you with different resource people. And I do feel I keep following my dream uh, of handing over the reins to the children, because like Chetna also said, and Archana and Aditi, that I really feel that uh, if we just were to partner our children rather than dumb them down with education system, we would find a far more curious learning environment everywhere, because children are naturally curious. And I think as educators and parents and as community, uh, our task is to learn for ourselves how to nurture and nourish that curiosity. So with that, I'd like to end the session today. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Enjoy your Sunday and Saturday. Yeah. I mean, enjoy your weekend. Most of your Saturday I have taken away. So yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dola and Pranal.
Thank you.